Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're looking at the NBA Finals Game 3 Showdown picks for Draftkings and Fanduel. Got some big money up for grabs on Draftkings, as usual, for the Finals. A Game 2's Showdown winner was Kevon Looney was captain with his 3 steals block and his perfect 6 of 6 from the field. So let's go ahead and get into today. We'll look at a couple of builds that I like. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it for the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out all the other links that I offer down below in the description. And let's go ahead and get started. So, looking at your top-end plays, Steph Curry is your most expensive guy today, even though the Celtics are at home. You got one Golden State player all the way at the top with Curry, and then you got 4 Celtics in a row. You got Tatum, Brown, Smart, and Horford in that order. And at home, in with the Celtics being right where they want to be, 1-1 going back to Boston. They've did what they had to do. They took back home court. So I'm looking at like a Celtic player, probably at captain. I think that will probably be the route that I end up going with. And I think we'll look at one with Tatum at captain. We'll look at one with another cheaper Celtic player at captain. But Tatum had a very great game to start, and then he was knocking down so many threes, 6 of 9 from the outside, but he only made 2 of 10 from inside, especially a lot of those misses from inside, from the 2-point land. And a lot of those misses came right at the rim, or a couple feet away from the rim. So he wasn't making a lot of short shots, which kind of hurt them a lot in the third quarter, as they couldn't stop the Golden State Warriors run. But ultimately, Tatum has been doing mostly well this postseason. He's always had one bad game a series, but besides that, he's typically been shooting at a very nice clip. He gets you rebounds, can get you assists as well. So don't have to explain Tatum at captain too much. I'm looking at still getting to Steph Curry. We have some value, and Curry's been the most consistent player for the Warriors this series. He's averaging over 53 fantasy points in the 2 games, and he lost several minutes in the last game. If you look at Popcorn Machine, you can kind of see how the rotations panned out for these two teams. And for Boston, none of the starters played more than a minute into the fourth quarter, so we didn't get you got a bunch of scrub time minutes for like the end of the bench guys. And then the Warriors did play some of their key guys to the fourth, like Draymond and Jordan Poole played the entire fourth, and Payton played a lot of the fourth, and Klay Thompson played a lot of the fourth. But we didn't get any minutes for Steph Curry. Didn't step on the court in the fourth, and he didn't get any minutes for Wiggins in the fourth. So that's why the minutes for those guys a little bit less than the other starters. But in any sort of close game, that Curry's looking at high 30s a minutes, probably even up to 40. If they're trailing in the fourth, or if they need, or if it's like a super competitive game. So Curry, Tatum to start with in this build. Smart had a very poor game. He's 78, so if we play Tatum at captain, I don't know if I'll be able to get to... If I play Tatum at captain and I want to get to Curry, I don't know if I'll be able to get to Smart as well. I think you can look to a cheaper guy that's been taking some production away from Marcus Smart from Boston, and that is Derek White. Shooting a lot more. He's shot 24 times the first 2 games in this series. He's been effective shooting from the outside. He's made 7 of 12 from 3-point land, and he's a good defensive player. He had a nice block. He had 2 nice blocks in that most recent game. He can get you defensive steals as well. So, going to go ahead and put in Derek White in this build that we're looking at. Looney at 66, like he didn't play at all in the second quarter, and then he got some minutes in the fourth. He only played about 20 minutes. He's always like a decent option just because he's going to get you defensive stats, and those can add up quickly, and he's taking all of his shots right at the basket, so he's not going to be, for most of his shots, occasionally he can step out and like hit a 2, but he's going to be pretty efficient just based on his shot selection. And then we have $3,000 Gary Payton, who did play 25 minutes. He played a lot of the fourth. He played almost the whole second quarter, I believe. We played about half the second quarter, but he closed both first, second, and third quarters. So he's probably going to be in the closing lineup just with the defense that he gives them. And I'd probably take the spot of Looney in those closing situations. So at $3,000, he looks like a very good value pick. You can also consider like an Otto Porter Jr. He only played 15 minutes, so he definitely lost minutes if you look at his rotation. Gary Payton coming back is going to hurt him a little bit, but he didn't play at all in the fourth, and he's at least going to get 4 or 5 minutes in the fourth. So he's probably looking at low 20 minutes as usual for Otto Porter. We plug him in, we're left with $9,400, and that makes it very easy to get to Jaylen Brown here. So we get to the 2 top dogs on the Boston side with Tatum and Brown. Jaylen Brown had a poor shooting performance, 5 of 17. He only played 28 minutes. He's had a couple of big games this playoffs. A lot of the time he's just been like in the 30s or low 40s. But if you want it to be a little bit different, I don't know how many people will play Brown today, just with some of the other options that you have cheaper. But I do like the value that Gary Payton offers, and I like the value that Otto Porter offers and Derek White offers. So if I'm playing Tatum, my captain, and with Curry, I can definitely see myself doing this. You get the 3 most expensive guys here, and then you got some good value to fill it out with. So that's one build. We can look to go with the cheaper captain if you wanted to, and I really don't mind taking a shot on like a Derek White at captain with the minutes that he's playing. Robert Williams isn't playing much. He's playing like 20 minutes or so, maybe like a little bit more than 20, but last game he only played 14, and they said he's like on a 20-25 minutes limit, but he didn't play much with the blowout. But that's just going to be more minutes for Derek White in this series. It makes a lot of sense. Golden State plays a lot of small lineups with 3 guards together with Steph Curry, Payton, Klay Thompson. Wiggins isn't, he can play like he's like plays a 3, but if they want to go small, he can play the 4 with Draymond manning the 5. So if we look at Derek White at captain, you're going to be able to plug in like Curry easily, going to be able to plug in Tatum, and now you're going to be, you probably can get to one of these value picks on Golden State, whether you're picking from Otto Porter or Gary Payton. I think $1,600 Payton might be the better value, but I do like both of them. And now we have 82.50, so this is where you can put in like a Jaylen Brown here, and you can plug in Draymond Green. So once again, you're getting a 3-3 stack with all 3 of the most expensive players on the slate, with the value pick in Payton and Draymond, who has been okay this series. It's not, first game struggled shooting, second game he just didn't shoot much, only shot 3 times. But he's still gonna get you rebounds, get you assists, and 7K isn't the worst price tag. If you want to be different, you can, instead of playing Draymond here, you would look to play like Looney and hope that he outscores Draymond, and that extra $500, just leave it, and because less chances that you're going to be tying with people. So that's something you can be looking at. If we mess it, or if we change things up a little bit, instead of Payton here, if we do plug in like a Otto Porter instead, we're left with 55. You'll probably want to try to get to, if you want to try to get to like Wiggins here, instead of Jaylen Brown, you'd be looking at putting in like an Al Horford here. Something like that is definitely doable. I'll probably end up with 3-3 or maybe 4-2, but I definitely don't see myself going with a 5-1. Expect it to be a close game. So that's kind of what I got. In terms of the secondary pieces, I'm not going to probably go crazy with like a Klay Thompson today. I think Smart makes sense for tournaments. If you're making a bunch of teams, put him in some, just because he's probably not going to get that much ownership based off of last performance, and that's a perfect time to capitalize. But I like some other guys than Klay Thompson. I like the price tag on Wiggins to bounce back a bit. Looney's fine at 66, but the minutes are still a little bit of a concern. So instead, I don't mind going with the other picks like Porter Jr. as a value, and definitely taking shots on Gary Payton and other options from Boston side. I'm not big of a fan of Grant Williams, Pritchard, or definitely not that much of a fan of Robert Williams with the knee issue and just not playing that much in this series, just based on the matchups. So in terms of the core plays, whether I end up with Derek White or Tatum at captain, we'll see. But I'm definitely going to be having Tatum in my lineup. Definitely going to be having Steph Curry. I like getting to Derek White at 58, and then I think 3,000 Gary Payton with the defense that he can give you, a couple like assists here and there, a couple rebounds here and there, and maybe some defensive stats will be nice. So these are the 4 guys. I'll probably end up with 2 top expensive guys, and then we got 2 nice value picks. So that's what I got over on DraftKings today. Let's go ahead and look at FanDuel. All right, over on FanDuel, Tatum is your most expensive player, and I think that makes sense with them being at home in Boston. Plug in Tatum here, plug in Curry. FanDuel, you got a lot of flexibility just based on the pricing. So we can maybe consider paying all the way up for Jaylen Brown as well. But you got some cheap price tags on the Golden State side. Wiggins is only 12K, Draymond is 11K, Klay Thompson is like the cheapest he's been at 10.5K. You got good value down here. Like Poole is pretty affordable at 9,000. Derek White is only 95, and Robert Williams' price tag is way down at 85. And then you got Otto Porter and Gary Payton kind of staring at you at their price tags. So we'll see if in the pro spot, if we put in like a Draymond here, and then the utility spot we can put in like a Derek White at 95, and that leaves us with 9,000. We can put in Jordan Poole. This might be a very popular build, so if you want it to be different, we've seen Derek White occasionally, and he definitely can outscore Draymond if he's making a lot of shots and getting you a lot of defensive stats, especially on FanDuel. That'll help him. And he's definitely playing a lot more minutes this series, averaging like 30. Expecting to play over 30 the way that he's been playing, and just with the way the rotations are going. So if you can do something like that, it's fine, just to give yourself some better chances of not tying with a lot of people, or instead of Draymond, you can put in Clay or put in Looney here and save some money and just leave it there and don't worry about it. So that's something we can look at. Another value, we have Porter and Payton all the way at the bottom. Only $500 difference between the two. I mean, Porter probably gives you more offensive upside, and he's actually done a decent job of getting steals this series. So if you put in like Otto Porter here, we can probably look to get up to like a Andrew Wiggins here, or even like a Marcus Smart instead, and hope that he bounces back. And then you can probably even consider putting like a Derek White here. So on FanDuel, it's either going to be 3 Boston Celtics and 2 Warriors, or 2 or 3 Warriors and 2 Boston Celtics. Probably the former, something I'll start with and experiment with. But in terms of my favorite picks, I still want to get to Tatum, Curry, and then I do like Derek White a lot, just the way that he's playing. In 95, somewhat expensive, but I do like what he offers defensively. Offensively, he's done a great job, and now playing in front of the home crowd, hopefully he kind of continues playing with that energy. If I had to rank these 3 Warriors picks, I would probably start with, if salary didn't matter for you, I'd probably still stick with like Wiggins as my favorite, and then probably consider going to Draymond, then Looney, then Clay. Those 4, I would rank it like that, but I don't mind even going cheaper. I'm considering putting in Jordan Poole all the way down at 9,000. He's like kind of in his own price tag from the Warriors side there. But that's about it for the video for me. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments. Best of luck today, and I will see you all next time.